Hello and welcome. This is the Bookworm and I'm Ansha Chaudhary. Today the book that I'm going to talk about is really famous and I wouldn't be surprised if most of you have heard the name in some way or the other. This is Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. Now, this book is really peculiar because it belongs to two genres that are very far from each other. It is science fiction and funny at the same time. Now, there are not many books that do tick both of those boxes, and that's what makes this very peculiar. Also, it's one of my most favorite books. Also, to give you a background onto the book, this was actually a radio show that aired back in the 1970s, also made by Douglas Adams, and it was a huge hit. So then it got adapted into various forms, like in books, in a TV series, in a video game, and a movie. So it's really all over the place, and that's why you may have heard of it. Now, a little disclaimer, this one is actually a collection of 5 novels, not a single one, and I realized that if I talk about all the 5 books in the same video, this would be a pretty long video and you might just get bored. So I'm going to break this into 2 parts. In the first one, I'm going to talk about the first 2 books, and in the next episode I'll talk about the other 3. So, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has 5 novels, and they are The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, Universe and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and mostly Harmless. So, we'll be talking about the first 2 in this episode. Now, coming to the plot of the first 2 books, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy begins with a man, Arthur Dent, who realizes in the course of time that his friend Ford Prefect is actually an alien. And what's more, the Earth is going to get destroyed to make way for an intergalactic highway. Now, if that plot is weird enough to get your attention, this book will get you hooked because things only get more crazier from here on. Also, a little spoiler, Earth does get destroyed, so the entire action of this book is based in space. And that's pretty much what this book is about. It's about Arthur Dent and Ford Prefect having extraordinary adventures in space. And these adventures have everything you can imagine. They have aliens, then there is time travel, there are black holes, there are intergalactic rock concerts, and everything else that you can probably imagine. So it's really weird and it's funny at the same time because it's really light-hearted, and the characters keep landing up in outlandish situations one after the other. So you wouldn't know when one episode ends and the other one begins because it just keeps going like an never-ending adventure movie. Also, this book is really jargon heavy. And by that, I mean the scientific terms that get thrown around in this book are a lot. So I would recommend that you have a bit of a prior knowledge in science before you end up reading this book, because if you know what Brownian motion is, or what probability means, or if you know a bit about time travel or the Big Bang, then you will end up learning or understanding a few more jokes than other people. Also, the other thing that really fascinates me about this book is the fact that it's very funny and light-hearted, but also it deals with some very profound concepts like the meaning of life. For example, there is an entire episode where a species becomes so advanced that they end up questioning the meaning of life, so they actually build a computer that would give them the answer. But when they do get the answer to the meaning of life, they realize that they do not know what the ultimate question is. So then they start looking for the question when they already have the answer. So it's really that weird. Also, there are a lot of other profound things that get discussed in these books, like who is actually fit to rule other people, and are people who aim to be rulers or the people who aim to attain power in their life really fit to get that power. So these are really serious topics to be covered in a book as light-hearted as this. So that's one thing. Also, the other important aspect of this book is the fact that it's really dialogue heavy, because the characters keep going back and forth. So what happens is there are a lot of subtleties and inside jokes, and there's a lot of attention paid to the dialogue between these characters, which makes you stay on your feet all the while. It keeps you thinking, it keeps you alert, because the moment you zone out, you are sure to have missed 5 jokes. So that's one thing about this book. And all of this put together, what happens is, most of the people, like 90% of the people who have read these books, by the end of it, they don't really remember where this book began. It's really that dense. So if you are into that kind of a mind-boggling read, then these books are really your cup of tea. I would highly recommend them. Also, another very interesting thing about this book is the fact that it throws at you some absolutely amazing quotes when you least expect them. Like, all of the people who have read this book and I have talked to, they keep coming back to the quotes from this book. So it's really that good. So that was about it, about these first 2 novels. I will not go into the details of the plot, because that way I would be taking away from the fun of the book, because it's really very dense, and in a sense that you wouldn't know what's going to happen in the next 2 pages. So I'm not going to reveal much about the plot. Other than that, these 2 novels are not really 2 separate novels. You can read them as 2 consecutive chapters of a novel, because the second one picks up right where the first one leaves you. So you can flip through them very quickly. It's very fun to read. These are engaging. Also, this book is going to tire you to some extent. So don't expect to finish a lot of it in one reading, because after a while your head just gets really buzzing with these ideas, and you will need to take a bit of time off from these books. So these are highly recommended if you are into jargon heavy, very intricately detailed and amazing books. So that was about it. If you have read these books, please tell me in the comments what are your favorite quotes from these books. Also, please tell me what are the reviews or recommendations you would want me to do. And if you like what you see, please like, subscribe and share it with your friends. This is a new channel, and that's about it. See you next time.